I'm Ameila Fischer, and I'm playing Mary Bennet.
I'm Jonathan Horne. I'm playing Arthur de Burgh.
So could you guys give us a little overview of what this production is all about?
Sure. So this is an imagined sequel to Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen's beloved novel, and this happens 2 years after the marriage of Darcy and Elizabeth and Jane and Bingley. Do you take it from there?
Sure, yeah. So I'm the only non-canonical character, and so I show up about a third of the way through the script, and Mary's pretty much like, oh, I'm just going to go live in somebody's attic, and then I arrive, and the possibility of love is on the horizon.
Yeah,
so.
This story focuses on the middle sister, Mary Bennet, who doesn't get a whole lot of time in the book or any of the movie versions. She's the awkward spinster seeming on her way, playing piano badly, singing badly, kind of being annoying to everyone. So this is the whole family's gathering for Christmas, and she sort of has a chance to come into her own for the first time.
So as you guys are getting into these roles, like what part of yourself did you think you kind of really had to kind of throw in to kind of make this character come to life for you?
Oh man, so before I got into acting, I was going to be a paleontologist until I was a junior in high school, and then I took chemistry, and I was like, enough of that. But yeah, so I've kind of got this, it was in the audition, went in, and just the technical scientific minutia of Arthur's stuff and his social awkwardness and everything like that was all very readily accessible. So it was just reading through the script. Sometimes you get those characters you just read through and you're like, oh, not only do I understand this person, but it's like I feel this person. And so that was just from the get-go. I just had it was like a kindred spirit.
Yeah, and I'd say that sort of inherent nerdiness of Mary, which Arthur shares definitely, that bookishness that I definitely had as a child. I was homeschooled, and so I was that 11-year-old who was like writing my angsty sonnets instead of hanging out with other people. So I definitely have that kindred response to Mary as a character. She's grown up in this sort of isolation in between the two sets of siblings, and her main consolation with books. So she spends a lot of time with that, and then gets to come into the world.
Now, I kind of noticed that with your characters, they have a sense of peak nervousness at all times. Like, is that typical to kind of sustain that? Because it seems like it would take a lot of energy to keep that going, right?
I will say on my worst days, sometimes it takes more energy not to have that. It's I think sometimes that anxiety of, oh, did I say the wrong thing, or that oversharing, which I think Arthur in particular is really, really given to, that sometimes that, you say something and it's like, oh, wait, should I not have said that? And you start kind of doubling down, and then you kind of turn into this anxiety spiral. So I just kind of just open the channels for that and just kind of let my inner awkward fly.
Well, I thought you were going to say you drink a lot of Starbucks on top of that.
Well, I mean, that too.
Obviously.
But yes.
And how about for you?
Yes, I'd say Mary gets that lovely respite of the biting sarcasm, so I get to sort of sit back and have those moments of commentary on the other characters, and then the fear that those are being misinterpreted, which I think is something we all worry about if we get a little too harsh, especially around the holidays with family. So that's something that I enjoy tracking through the show.
Now, you guys, of course, are a couple in this, flourishing couple in this production. How do you kind of work on building that suspense? Or is it more of the writing that does that? Or how much leeway do you guys have in creating some of that suspense that goes into the establishing the relationship?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say this year we're so fortunate that Jonathan and I are both returning from last year, so we get to build on the discoveries that we made last year with that relationship and find new things this year about those moments of awkwardness or moments of discovery, and as well as just trusting your partner. I'd say we hadn't worked together before this show last year, and I feel really blessed to have such a emotionally connected and good partner with such good timing on stage. So that's been really fun.
Likewise, and it's so often, or it's so rare that you get a chance to return to something like that, and so everything that you said, just giving to, what we were able to establish last year. And it was really cool. We actually first met here at Theatrical Outfit seeing Silent Sky, Lauren Gunderson's one of her many other plays. And we ended up sitting next to each other and just kind of, I was like, oh, you're an actor too, and everything.
Yeah.
So it was really serendipitous. And it's so great to be on stage with somebody that you know is game for whatever and is also going to yes and you guys are just both committed to the same thing. Like it's very freeing, even though we're playing these very pent up characters.
Now, could you kind of set the stage for me, kind of telling me where you both from? I guess I'm kind of asking that because you guys have these accents, and I'm trying to get a gauge of how difficult it is to kind of pull this off for a 2-hour production.
Right, so neither one of us is really from the UK, so we did have to spend a good deal of time working with our dialect coach, and I spent time in grad school studying different dialects. I'm actually from Gainesville, Georgia, just up 985, and I spent about 10 years working elsewhere, and now I'm really happy to be back in Atlanta in this thriving arts community.
Yeah, no, we moved here when I was 8, so I'm sort of a transplant, but I basically lived out most of my entire life here. So, this is, I've done some accent work in the past, but this is kind of the first, really, really dedicated accent work that I've been able to do in a while, and it's something that I've missed doing, so I'm just really, really glad that we're getting a chance to do that.
And we had a dialect coach last year, Grant Chapman,
yes.
And this year, Kara Reed. So both of their jobs were to really just watch, give us all notes, work with us one-on-one, and really make sure that we're all living in the same play, dialect-wise.
Oh, I was just going to say, and the great thing too is that each of them had their own areas of focus. So it was really, really great with Grant last year, really getting a super solid base and really tackling a lot of the issues that he was looking at. And then with Kara coming in, would kind of highlight some of the other aspects. So I felt like it was just a doubling down and a fine tuning that was really great.
That's cool. Hey, as you're doing these accents, is there a particular phrase or words that kind of give you extra trouble that you kind of you have to really focus in on?
Oh, goodness.
Well, we had a question last year about giraffes. I was like, is it giraffes? Is it giraffes? So a couple words like that we just have to ask for help on because we don't hear them spoken in most BBC films or any source material we may be looking at. So that was one of the fun ones.
Okay, so the one this year was zoology. We were wondering whether or not it was zoology or zoology.
Yes.
And it's zoology.
It is.
So, yes.
And kind of speaking about the BBC, is that, as you mentioned, that one of your kind of sources for when you're trying to kind of really capture these roles? And kind of give me an idea of if there are any other sources that you kind of use it as your primary go-tos.
Certainly. I love the BBC and the A&E version of Pride and Prejudice. I boycotted the Keira Knightley one for a while because I was such a diehard fan of the Colin Firth version, but I have seen it. It's very good. So yeah, I think just the more I was able to digest about this Regency era and seeing different versions of that on screen, as well as different productions that were set in a similar time period, were just really helpful for all of the customs and different courtesies.
Arthur is completely fictitious, so they're all fictitious, but so it's really fun to just kind of to not have any preconceived notions about who this character is or the way that he behaves. It's just kind of a carte blanche, basically. So that's a lot of fun.
Well, for those who may be sitting on the fence about coming out and see the show, kind of give us an idea of your reason why you think you should come check you guys out.
I'd say because this play has everything you want for the holidays. It's about family, and it has redemption, it has a lot of humor, it has a romance. I'd say it has a Christmas tree. So I'd say it has everything that you want if you want to experience something more than maybe is offered on Netflix. Bring your family out to this, and you get to share 2 hours of transformative experience.
Yeah, it's smart, it's funny, but it does have a heart that's not insipid, and not that Christmas stories, are all insipid, because they're not, but I think there's a tendency to kind of lean into sentimentality, and this is a play that aggressively goes against sentiment. And I think is kind of in some ways a little challenging. So yeah, it's
And even though we have a period setting, we have modern writers, so it still feels very current. And we have a lot of feminist moments. We have things about how do you change as a person when your family thinks you're one way, which I think resonates with a lot of audience members, especially around this season. So yeah, I'd say it feels very contemporary to our experience today.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys very much. Any final words you want to say?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And check out Theatrical Outfit online. Get your tickets.
Yes.
And speaking of which, how can they do so?
Yep, going to the website, theatricaloutfit.org.
.org.
Haha!
Right here.
And they can get tickets that way or by calling the box office.
Yes.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.